we never really appreciate or understand what we have until it's gone. So a lot of what I'm doing now is really desperately trying to live in the present, live now, enjoy now. And that's what life is about. And that's what we have to do and hold on to. It's no good wishing away and wanting more than we can have and whatever. It's what's important is making the most of here and now. Because as we all know, the world is in a really bad state. So anything good and anything positive, we have to challenge and really focus on and be part of and stand up for everything which is good to try and counterbalance against bad.
My name is Tina Rivers Ryan, and I'm editor-in-chief at Artforum. I'm joined today by Dame Tracey Emin, who contributed a portfolio to our October 2024 issue. Tracey, I want to begin by saying congratulations. I think I saw in the news that you received a major award last night.
Yeah, I did yesterday, not last night, yesterday daytime. Yeah, it was Lifetime Achievement Award. It's quite a serious thing. So it's kind of like quite exhausting as well. Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
you get to continue opening new shows. So you have a new show opening tonight, right, at White Cube Bermondsey?
Yeah, there's about 50 paintings and there's a film and a couple of bronzes. It's a big show. It's the whole of Bermondsey. And the paintings are very large, most of them. And the title of the show is I Followed You to the End. And it's about following something or someone as far as you possibly can, and then realizing that there's an end and that there's nowhere else to go. And that's what happens in life. It happens in life, it happens in death, it happens in love, it happens with many, many things. And the show, if you see the work, the paintings, you'll see that it's quite sad, a lot of it. It isn't as tough as I normally am. Part of that, though, was because I had cancer and I was going to die. I had 6 months to live. It was at that point that I thought, oh my God, what have I done with my life? And it's true, when you go to the lowest points in your life, like I actually saw death. It was like there, right in front of me. And I just thought, oh, if I get through this one, I'm going to change everything.
That's brings me to a question I wanted to ask you about the way that you've been so public about what you've been through with your treatment and the way that now your stoma and your urostomy bag actually play into the work that you're making. And I'm thinking of the portfolio that you shared in Artforum's pages where you can very obviously see, there are photos that you took of your body lying down in bed. You can see the tubing, you can see the bag of urine. And, you know, not to flatten our experiences, but I've worn a subcutaneous catheter since 1997. And I also have always been incredibly public about it. While lots of people hide their, sort of cathected devices and machines,
Yeah.
never really been shy about it. And yet, I don't know, it's really just sort of awe-inspiring to see the way that you're being very public and open in a way that in the same way that you always have been, right? About your body and your experiences.
But then having an invisible disability is is like it's terrible because because I had to self-catheterize for 5 years and I didn't tell anyone about that. And that was one of the biggest mistakes because that also probably led to the cancer as well. And I realized that if you have like I've always said, if you have a secret, it's the most damaging thing. Being open is only going to help you and help you recover and help you overcome things. So like if I had to keep my bag a secret, I mean, I couldn't. It's technically impossible to do unless you don't go out the house. So I'm not going to stay in and be a prisoner and be defined by other people's values of what's aesthetic and what's livable and what isn't livable. And I think everything that I've done in the last 30 years or whatever has been building up. It's like, and I keep saying it's like a mountain. And the mountain I've climbed on, I've climbed up this mountain, rock by rock by rock, and I've got to the top of the mountain and I've stuck a massive giant flagpole into this mountain. And then I've hoisted this flag that's blowing in the wind, that's blowing in the air. And that flag is my painting.
Why painting? Why is painting so significant for you compared to the other kinds of medium that you've worked with?
Because when you paint, when you really paint, it's a battle. It's a kind of It's something which you take on medically and metaphysically, and you understand that every mark you made never existed before you put it there. When I'm painting, I feel it coming from me. I feel it coming out of me. And that's why it's really important, because otherwise that all stays inside me.
One of the things that's notable about the current body of work that you're showing, though, is that it's not just about your experience of disability or age and that feeling of vulnerability. You're also mapping that onto experiences that are sexual. You're making references to fucking. You're showing figures that are lying prone. You're writing the word fuck on the surface of your canvases. And so I wondered if you could say a little bit more about, that commingling of sexuality and disability, which is something that I think that, you know, frankly remains taboo.
And it's really funny. I've often related art to sex in a way. And also, like with men, I always say that men have one big massive ejaculation, and that's usually like their career. And then they go downhill after in their 50s or whatever. And women, they keep coming and coming and coming and coming. Women, just the older women get, the better their art becomes and the greater they become within themselves. And it's really strange, because I wonder with art, I'm sure with me that it's all inside me, that it's all in there. It always has been since I was born, since I was conceived. All of the art was in there, and it has to come out. And if it doesn't come out, I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm not being the right person who I should be. I've never been so prolific in all my life, and I'm physically weak. So being physically weak and doing such big giant paintings is kind of really, yeah, it feels amazing. I don't
Yeah.
feel ill when I'm painting. I don't feel like I've ever been ill.
Before I came to Artforum, I was a curator at the Buffalo AKG Art Museum, formerly the Albright Knox Art Gallery. And the entire time that I worked there, they had one of your neon lights on view that is a white cursive script neon that says, "Only God knows I'm good." And now that I have the chance to speak to you, I wondered if you could say anything about that phrase and what that means to you, or maybe what it meant to you before and what it means to you now.
There's a number of different things. When when I was very low a few years ago, I was really lonely and really unhappy. And I felt really small. And I said, like, if God was watching me and looking at me, looking down on me, whatever God is, could see that I was sad and unhappy. I can't, an unhappy figure, but I wasn't a bad person. I know I'm not a bad person. And understanding that there's some good inside you means that more good can grow. And I don't mean that in a religious way at all. But also, I really like the David Bowie's song, God Knows I'm Good. Surely God will look the other way today. And it's a lyric about a woman shoplifting. And she's not a bad person, but she's stealing. And I think in life, sometimes we all have to do things which are wrong, which we know are wrong, but it's part of our survival. It's all or nothing kind of thing, it's like Hobson's choice, we have no choice. So, and I think for a lot of people, they're faced with that kind of stuff in life and they have to deal with it, but they're not necessarily bad people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we overcome that? And
Hmm.
perhaps it's through art that we discover, not just our I don't want to say just make excuses for ourselves, but we make meaning of the choices that we make.
Yeah, well, I think if people can understand, or no, not understand, but know that they can look at art and art resonates and they can feel something, then art can have a profound effect on them and change their life and change their perspective to everything, on everything. And I said yesterday in my speech for the Lifetime Achievement Award, I said that it's quite obvious that art is a good thing, because when cave people were painting on the walls, they obviously weren't out clubbing each other to death. They were painting on the walls. And that's what we need to do now. We need to be painting on more walls. We need to be, I'm using that as a metaphor, you know, instead of what's actually happening in the world. The destruction of the world that we're in is so abhorrent and so obvious, and nobody seems to want to stop it. And I can only see that the really good thing, only by being really good can we stop it. Can we stop these things from happening? More bad isn't going to make it stop. And art is a really good thing.
Thank you so much.
No, it's brilliant. And thanks for my project in Artforum. I'm really pleased. You know, I've only been in Artforum a couple of times, and once was the openings, and that was in, I think, 1995, 2 pages, and a couple of small reviews. So it's a big deal for me to have all these pages, and I'm pleased because it was on my terms. It's what I wanted to put in Artforum, so I'm really pleased. So thank you.